Om Mani Padme Hum. Hail the jewel in the lotus that is symbolic of wisdom in Buddhism.
It is our immense privilege to welcome His Holiness Tenzin Gyatso, the 14th Dalai Lama, a leader of world peace, a visionary humanitarian, a great spiritual leader, and a beacon of inspiration for all.
We are indeed overwhelmed by the presence of the ocean of wisdom, the Buddha of compassion, His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, amidst us today.
His Holiness first visited our school campus exactly 20 years ago on 16 November 1997.
To have His Holiness visit the school again is our dream come true. His Holiness, we are so grateful to you.
Light means knowledge and understanding. All our sufferings come from ignorance. Making an offering of light removes ignorance and confusion and paves way for clear ideas and good understanding. We request His Holiness to light the ceremonial lamp, a symbol of dispelling all darkness from our lives.
We request our other esteemed guests on the stage to join in lighting the lamp.
We now request Dr. Prasad V. Meduri, Chairman, Salwan Public School, to present a token of our gratitude to His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama. May we now request Shri Harpal Singh to present the welcome address. Shri Harpal Singh is the Honorable Trustee, Salwan Education Trust, Chairman Emeritus, Fortis Healthcare, Chairman of the Impact Group, and also the founder and chairman of Nanhi Cha Foundation, which passionately promotes the cause of the girl child and the environment. So please.
A very good morning to you all, and particularly Your Holiness. Before I sort of say a few words of welcome to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, let me mention that all you children of the Salwan schools, young citizens of India, I can assure you that in future years, when you reminisce about the time you have spent in our schools, this occasion today, your being present in the presence of His Holiness will be permanently etched in your memories for all time. You will recognize that the presence of His Holiness would give you that deep inner strength to deal with life, not only for its challenges, but also for its good times. So on your behalf, and on behalf of teachers, on behalf of all staff, on behalf of the parents and the fraternity of the Salwan schools, may I, sir, welcome you to our school here. What better way to welcome His Holiness than for me to once again request you all children to stand up and give a standing ovation by welcoming His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Thank you, and may we bow in His presence. Thank you. It is difficult for someone like me to actually define or encompass what His Holiness stands for. So I'm not even going to make an attempt to say what he stands for, but share with you children what some of the world says about His Holiness. What does everybody, young, old, of different nationalities, of different faiths, of global institutions, of school systems, of corporate India, of the corporate world, what do they say about His Holiness? He is clearly seen as an apostle of peace. He is seen as someone who endangers the symbol of love and compassion. He is seen as an embodiment of all that is good in humanity. He is seen as a spiritual leader for the world and for mankind. He is a passionate advocate, a crusader for democracy and for human rights. He, even though belonging to the faith that he is the temporal leader of, he believes fundamentally that notwithstanding the differences in faiths, one of mankind's most compelling expectations and aspirations must be that we learn to live in harmony amongst all faiths. So in many senses, He is all those wonderful qualities, and this is what the world says about him. So you young children, you must feel immensely inspired by the fact that we have him and that we will have him share a few thoughts with us. I thought I would also share with you what are his personal aspirations, if I may, sir, with your permission. His most, I believe, three things that he has often said is a fundamental promotion of human values. He believes in the harmony and the promotion of it, of all faiths. And finally, he believes that he would like to promote the culture of his faith, and that significantly represents a culture of peace, of nonviolence, and of course, in a personal sort of sense, also the protection of the environment, particularly that of his home country, Tibet. Your Holiness, we're indeed blessed by your presence. We feel blessed that you've taken time out to be with us. We feel empowered and inspired. And I can tell you this, that we feel your aura. We certainly do. So in that, and amongst, is therefore all-encompassing, if I may say. His all-encompassing value is that in spite of being the tallest of human beings that live on the planet today, or for that matter, that have lived for centuries, in spite of the fact that he's a tall human being, he is as humble as you get them. He represents humility in a way that is touching and inspiring. Sir, we are indeed pleased to have you with us. And may I once again, on behalf of our fraternity, of the Salwan fraternity, welcome you to this function, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. His Holiness strongly believes that we can never obtain peace in the outer world until we make peace with inner self.
He says peace must first be developed within an individual. Love, compassion, and selflessness are the fundamental basis for peace. Once these qualities are established within an individual, he or she is then able to create an atmosphere of peace and harmony around him. This atmosphere can be expanded and extended to his family, from the family to his community, and eventually to the whole world.
We now have the school choir presenting before you an interfaith prayer, seeking peace for all. We begin with the Buddhist chant.
Now, a prayer from Hinduism.
Mangala
Now, a prayer from Jainism.
Now, a prayer from Islam.
Now, a prayer from Sikhism.
Imagine by John Lennon, Our Dream for Peace.
Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
Now, the Tibetan Buddhist chant.
Mari Padme Hum, Om 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 Mari Padme
This is the paradox of our times.
We have bigger houses but smaller families, more conveniences but less time. We have more knowledge but less sense, more experts yet more problems, more medicines but less wellness.
We have learned how to make a living, but not alive. These are the times of fast foods with slow digestion and less nutrition, steep profits but shallow relationships, fancier houses but broken homes.
His Holiness, we look to you for showing us a way out of this paradox. We request you to kindly enlighten us.
Respected elder brothers and sisters, and then younger brothers and sisters, I am extremely happy and feel great honor, opportunity meeting with young people, students. Usually when I give talk, I stand, I prefer stand. But now, getting older, say I prefer now why talk from chair, like that. Because I getting older, and also you see, now quite so often when I reflect a generation, my generation, in 40s, 50s, 1940, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, many of them already disappear, gone. So I belong to that generation. Usually I describe generation of 20th century. So when I feel now most of my friends, including my parent and my beloved, my teacher, the only name. Then when I meet these young brothers, sisters, then I also feel I'm now mixing with you. I feel I'm a bit younger. So now you are generation of 21st century. 21st century, now more than 1 decade passed, but remaining, let's say, 8 decades yet to come. So, generation of 21st century. Now you have the opportunity to create better world, and you will enjoy that more peaceful, compassionate world. We, the generation of 21st century to 20th century, may not see that. So our real hope is on you. Please think more from wider perspective, not just your own circle. Look, firstly, now world become much smaller because of technology, because of global economy. And on top of that, the global warming. Now time comes, we have to think just one world. In ancient time, more emphasis, my nation, my country, then within the nation, my area, then finally, my family, then ultimately, just one self. Now time comes. each individual, we are part of 7 billion human beings. If 7 billion human beings, peaceful, harmony, then each of us, because we are part of the 7 billion human beings, each of us get maximum benefit. So even from the selfish viewpoint, according to today's reality, we have to think well-being of other, then you get maximum benefit. Ancient time, okay, doesn't matter, your own area, because small population, more or less self-sufficient. Now today, world heavily interdependent. So therefore, the universal value, think more seriously about global level. That actually, thinking that you really get more enthusiasm, more optimism, just a selfish thinking. Then, because too much self-centered attitude, then automatically develop more anxiety, more stress. And that brings some irritation. That brings distrust. That eventually brings violence. We are social animal. We need friend. Even animal, they have certain limited altruism because basic nature is more social animal. So we also, human being, social animal, we need very much friendship. When you surrounded by friends, you feel happy, safe. When you surrounded by people, maybe very rich, very powerful, but lack of human warm feeling. Although you may receive some smile, but there are different kinds of smile. You see, smile, even animal appreciate. That's genuine smile. A dog, cat, when you show them smile, sincere smile, they appreciate, isn't it? Artificial smile, they don't like. So we human beings, certainly artificial smile sometimes develop more suspicion, isn't it? So, you see, people who surround you showing genuine human smile. That come if you really have sincere feeling, they are part of you. They are human brothers, sisters. You see, my future depends on them. Then take care their well-being. That brings genuine friendship. So therefore, now time come, we have to think oneness of 7 billion human beings. I always consider myself as a one human being of 7 billion human beings. I never consider I'm something. Firstly, when I met people, I do not consider I am Tibetan from something different, with something different culture or different geography. And then, furthermore, I do not consider I am Buddhist. And then particularly, I never consider I am His Holiness Dalai Lama. If I sort of consider importance of Dalai Lama, then out of 7 billion human beings, only one Dalai Lama. So I feel lonely. If you see Dalai Lama not celibate, Dalai Lama, Mrs. Dalai Lama, then I may find another sort of person. But celibate, then I too much emphasis, I am Dalai Lama. Then really lonely feeling. When I think I am one of the 7 billion human beings, then wherever I go, meet people, I always feel I am one of them. That's my own experience. You see, no differences what sort of nationality, what color. In this country, I think unfortunately, caste system. This is outdated. We must emphasize oneness of we human being and oneness of Indian. Very important. So there is plenty of reason. 7 billion human beings, mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. And then furthermore, if we too much emphasis on secondary level of differences, then look today. Besides nature suffering from nature disaster, including earthquake or flood, or like that, a lot of problem. Actually, our own creation. Really very sad when we look television, news. I think each day, few thousand people killing, and dying due to starvation. Particularly those young child. Unthinkable. These are same human brothers, sisters. And particularly these are very, very innocent people who carry gun. There may be some superficial level, some reason to oppose them or to sort of destroy them. But then, look, now Yemen, children. When I look, picture some of these children, very thin. And they are human brothers, sisters. They are sort of suffering, starvation, due to concerned people's discrimination, lack of oneness of this, the sense of oneness of human being, human brothers, sisters. Now these days, when I wake up in the morning, usually about 3:30, I wake up. But I never sort of, sacrifice my sleep, 9 hours sleep. About 6, I went to sleep. Then morning, 3:30, wake up. Often I feel, I enjoy 9 hours sleep. During that 9 hours, how many people killed? How many children? Death by starvation. That's today's world. We are here, enjoy peace, tranquility. But same planet, same human being, a lot of suffering created by human themselves. What is that now? Now, according some scientists, basic human nature is more compassionate. There is a sufficient reason. More compassionate mind here, your physical better. And particularly young ladies who have beautiful face, but angry face, no longer any beauty. Isn't it? So, usually some ladies spend a lot of money from the family, is in making beautiful face or something, an ornament or something. But real beauty is inner beauty, not external beauty. Only external beauty, you marry, then within few weeks, quarrel start. And then eventually, divorce. Sometimes when I received some sort of request for blessing for marriage, then I also feel, now preparation for divorce. All these, you see, on the superficial level, more attraction. So develop attachment or sexual feeling, but without knowing the deeper level of inner beauty. Then marriage will not be successful, long-lasting marriage. Many years ago in San Francisco, one Christian preacher who helping marriage or these things, with just a casual talk. And he told me he usually asks couple who want to marry, and he usually advises them, no hurry, no hurry. Let you know each other deeper level. Once you develop full knowledge about the deeper level of nature of that person and develop respect, then marry. He usually advising to people. So he told me like that. That's quite true. So therefore, the inner beauty is very essential. Now, entire 7 billion human beings, from birth, we survived with mother's tremendous love, affection. Without that, we can't survive. That's our common experience. Then, the rest of our life, surrounded by people who really show you loving kindness. Because of loving kindness, then you feel happy. Physically, much healthier. So some scientists say, constant anger, constant fear, actually eating our immune system. So according to our common experience, from our birth and common sense, I think you know, you see your neighbor or even your classmates, students, usually you see showing you genuine smile like that, and then you feel much sort of enthusiasm, much happier. Attend class, now I'm going to see that my friend. In the case, in the classroom, you see the student, each other, too much competitive feeling, and a little bit sort of negative attitude. Then, when class start, you feel more sort of worry like that. So even teacher not only teach you the subject, but show you genuine human feeling. Then, I say, you are very happy to attend that class. if teacher may be knowledgeable, but showing you, look down, without sort of the human feeling, then you feel uncomfortable. I myself also, when I receive teaching from my teacher with smile, and that teaching goes deep in my mind. Occasionally, my teacher showing a little bit angry face, then I feel uncomfortable, like that. Although when I was young, like you, I'm quite lazy student. I think the laziness among the students, I think not sort of unique in my case. I think many of you also have that kind of feeling, isn't it? Like that. So, according to our common experience, common sense, then scientific sort of finding, more compassionate mind is key factor for happiness, for joyfulness. Okay. So now that sense of universal, sense of concern for universal human being, that is the genuine altruism. Other animal, because lack of intelligence, they cannot develop that kind of infinite love. We human beings, because of this brain, we have the ability to develop infinite love. So now, I have some critical view about the existing modern education system. I think modern education comes from West. So, and historically, you see the technology, science, these things start from West. So at that time, I think around 200 years ago, the science, technology, these gradually developed. Then the existing education sort of center traditionally, that is this monastery or nunnery, is the education center. They carry the responsibility about education. Now gradually new subject now come. So separate education institutions started. So naturally, moral ethics carried by religious institution. The newly developed science, these newly developed existing, separate education institution. So now modern education very much oriented about material value. Now today, I think all those developed countries, materially highly developed, and education according to that also is a highly developed. But if we look more deeper level, these highly developed materially community, lot of moral crisis, a lot of worry inside, lack of moral crisis, moral principle. And only think money, power. So, therefore, you see those poor people always suffer. Really, very sad. And even religious faith now using for conflict. Unthinkable. All major religious tradition carry message of love, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline. But you see too much emotion here and concept of we and they. Ultimately, too much self-centered attitude, short-sighted. Then religion also causing more division and more killing. Very unfortunate. So now, since the existing modern education is not adequate to bring more happy community. And happy community, happiness very much depends on loving kindness. So therefore, we really need education, including education about our inner value. A more holistic education, not just material value, but inner value, inner peace. In this respect, I'm fully convinced as a student of Nalanda tradition. See, as I mentioned earlier, when I study with great reluctance, laziness, gradually I realized those things which I learned is now really immense help. Firstly, keep my emotion more, destructive emotion more neutralize. I have the ability to neutralize destructive emotion, or constructive emotion can increase. Because ancient Indian psychology, wonderful. Then the way, you see, to transform our emotion, not through prayer, not through faith, but through reasoning. So ancient Indian Pramana, logic, extremely good. Therefore, now I have sort of last over 30 years, I have serious discussion with modern scientists because we emphasize on reason and experiment, not faith. So, as a student of this Nalanda master, I now realize, this ancient Indian knowledge is really very helpful. You see, to develop happy individual, happy family, happy community, finally, happy humanity. So therefore, my number one commitment is try to promote peaceful world through inner peace and mainly sense of oneness of human being and sense of concern of well-being of other. That is the key factor for peace, for happy humanity. And then second, my commitment is try to promotion of religious harmony. Now you young sisters, you see, you recite prayer for different tradition. Wonderful. India is the living example where all major world religious traditions live together. You see, beside homegrown religion, firstly, Sangha philosophy, very sophisticated philosophy. I think over more than 3,000 years. I think the rest of the world, then I think not much. This country, over 3,000 years, Sangha philosophy developed. Wonderful. Then Jainism, then Buddhism, and then later Sikhism. These are homegrown major religious tradition. And then later, this country received as a refugee from ancient Parsi. So, Zoroastrian tradition, now in Bombay. Very few community, less than 100,000, but no fear, completely safe. Among millions of Hindus, millions of Muslims, Christians, but handful of the Parsis, very happy. So that's India. So then, gradually, you see the Christianity and Judaism and Islam, all you see settle this country. Occasionally, some problem. That's understandable. I usually sit telling all over billion human beings are not something unusual. These also have emotion. So some mischievous people, possible. Out of 1 billion human beings, some mischievous people should be there. So some problem here and there. But overall picture of India religious harmony is really unique. Can be living example to rest of the world. Different religious traditions can live together harmoniously. Mutual respect, mutual learning. So now, since this country, I think intellectual level, I think among Egyptian civilization, Chinese civilization, and also Indus Valley civilization, and finally Indian civilization. I think Indian civilization, produced most thinkers on this planet. So therefore, India traditionally have great potential. You see, the contribution for humanity through brain, because of intelligence, not just the faith. So therefore, now modern India, now one of my commitment is, since I realize the ancient Indian knowledge about emotion and how to tackle emotion, there's something irrespective whether believer or non-believer, believe this religion or that religion, this India's tradition is very, very relevant to today's world. In order to make some significant contribution for rest of the world, firstly, these ancient Indian knowledge must revive within this country. So, I think modern Indian, too much, because of absorbed modern education or technology, these things, neglect about ancient your knowledge. So, and a few years ago, in Delhi, one international Hindu conference took place. So I also, you see, they invited me. So I told that meeting, I told them, oh, India, you see, those spiritual leaders, now time comes, should pay more attention for study. Not sufficient just to carry some rituals or some pujas. Must pay more attention about ancient Indian knowledge, including logic. That's very, very important. So therefore, in order to make significant contribution for 7 billion human beings, firstly, those ancient Indian knowledge must revive within the country. So I'm, not only me, about around 10,000 monk students and few thousand non-students. They study as I study. So these, I think, I feel, can make certain contribution regarding revival of ancient Indian knowledge. So this I want to share you. Modern education, modern technology alone, no guarantee to bring inner peace. Because destroyer of inner peace is not weapon, but our destructive emotions, such as anger, suspicion, these things. So these will not disappear through prayer. Only through training of our mind. Then, I think, the Sankhya philosophy, there are two groups. One believe creator, one believe not believe creator. Then Jainism. no concept of believer, no concept of creator. Then Buddhists also say no concept of creator. So logically, since these major religious traditions emphasis on oneself, not God or Buddha. So naturally, since you see one's own future entirely depends on oneself, so automatically relevant training of mind. So Indian tradition, shamatha, practice of shamatha, practice of vipassana, there. Because, you see, these religions emphasize responsibility on yourself, not God. So therefore, now these are training of mind. Now today's work, already in some non-Buddhist country, Judo-Christian country, including scientists, now really showing interest about ancient Indian knowledge about mind or emotion, how to tackle emotion, these things, and including some kind of meditation and including some yoga practice like that. So these are, now when I discuss with modern scientists about sort of emotion, about psychology, then sometimes I publicly sort of express, when I discuss with the modern psychology from the West, I really feel, their knowledge about mind, about emotion, compare ancient Indian sort of knowledge about mind or emotion, then West modern psychology looks like kindergarten level. Indian psychology highly developed. So now these things, we should not consider these things are part of religion. No, these things should consider academic subject. So Indian education field now should include more knowledge about emotion, about mind. I usually should describe, we in sort of education field, we also include hygiene of physical. Now, why not should include hygiene of emotion? That's very important. So those traditions, emphasis on faith, not relevant. The training of emotion, not much relevant, just a faith. In this country, the major three religious traditions emphasis self-creation. Then these things become very relevant. So now these, you see, should include in modern education, in India's modern education field. This is my view. So I totally, now 82-year-old, I don't know how long I remain, maybe 10, 15 years. So rest of my life, I now totally committed to serve for revival of ancient Indian knowledge, including few thousand, you see, scholars now here. A few years ago, you see, I suggest to them, some of them should study English and Hindi and the Malayalam, like that, because you see, in South India. So I really feel, you see, now time come. These knowledge, which actually come from India. We are chela of ancient Indian guru. So I usually is telling, we are not only chela, but also reliable chela. Over almost 1,000 years, while Guru's own land, a lot of things happen about Indian culture, Indian philosophy, these things, too much ups and downs. While Guru's own land, these things happen. In Tibet, we, as a chela, we kept all this knowledge. Therefore, it is sufficient reason to claim we are reliable chela. Now, in a way, the ancient time, you are guru, we are chela. Now, modern time, it seems chela become guru, guru become chela. So, in any way, this is very serious. Now, existing modern education, because of that, materialistic life, materialistic culture, through that, there is no room of moral ethics. So, a lot of man-made problems now we are facing. Just pray to God, to Buddha, not answer. We must, through action, we must change these things. In order to carry realistic action, we need a vision. So, India, future of India, I think great. So, please now think more seriously this matter. So, young Indian eventually can make significant contribution for better world, compassionate world. So, that's my talk. Now some questions. I would like to take some questions.
Thank you, His Holiness, for sharing your experiences with us and for guiding us. His Holiness, our students have really been looking forward to interact with you. With your kind permission, we now invite questions from the students.
Yes.
The first one to come forward is Neha Jain.
Oh?
His
Yes.
Holiness, in modern urban life, we lead a highly stressful life with short tempers. So could you please suggest some ways to control anger?
Anger. Firstly, I think anger and attachment is part of our mind, part of our life. Actually, for survival, anger, you see, oppose or expel. They sort of say, the thing which causing for our survival, anger, come, expel, protect yourself. Then attachment, those things which useful for your survival and bring together. But anger, attachment go beyond the realistic way, then it creates problem. So now anger very much related with attachment. Attachment essentially come from self-centered, selfish, narrow-minded. So now, I think maybe okay, you recite Buddham Shanam Gacchami or Om Mani Padme Hum, like that. So I may refer, you see, the Buddhist sort of tradition. How to, tackle anger and attachment. Buddhist concept, things are now, since you see these destructive emotion, very much based on appearances. Things appears something absolute. Now some, firstly, modern scientists, they say, our anger, you see, when you develop anger, the object you feel angry appears very, very negative. But actually, 90% of that negativeness is mental projection. That's now scientists say. This is exactly Buddhist text, Nagarjuna's text, say that. Then the mental projection, how develop? Convince as appears, something absolute there. Now quantum physics say nothing exists objectively. No absolute. So recently I heard one article wrote by one Chinese quantum physicist in China. According to his sort of research, the person who not just intellectually sort of understanding about quantum physics, but fully believe that, convinced that, you see, they are feeling the object something absolutely good, absolutely bad, that kind of thinking goes less. So this exactly Nalendra master, the Nagarjuna and the Madhyamika Mulakarika, you see, mentioned that. So now that kind of sort of practice, that kind of theory, now scientists also now confirming that. So, although the Nagarjuna mentioned these things for nirvana, that is something different. That's for Buddhists or people who believe something life after life, these things. But that's for Kasota. Besides that, the Bhashache. But day-to-day life, in order to reduce, or say the negative emotion, it is useful to think what is the ultimate reality of the object. And then that is the more philosophical field, philosophical views. And then immediate sort of counter force is anger, is love. And then anger, always, you see, one-sided way, focusing one aspect, one dimension. So you when you feel angry to someone, so when you develop some irritation and anger, all these just focusing one anchor. When your anger reduce, then look that person more positive. If the person is something absolutely 100% negative, then whenever see that person should be same person. But today, one day, you feel negative. When your anger disappear or reduce, you may see nice. So, these, good or bad, objectively does not exist. Much depend on our emotion. So then, as you try to look from a wider perspective, we are social animal. Whether you like it or not, you have to live side by side with that person. So better live happily. Think these lines. Then the intensity of anger reduce. These through training, just one day will not change. Weeks will not change. Months, years. Then your emotion will change, definitely. My own experience, when I was young, quite short temper. Training these things, then gradually, big change. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Next question.
Next, we have Namnoor Kaur Sokal.
Tashi Delek.
Tashi Dele.
His Holiness, my question to you is, the
the way in which human beings are exploiting the planet, do you think the earth will come to an end? And if it does, what will happen to all the souls?
I think present way of life, only material profit like that, and maximum exploitation, nature resources, and without taking care about environment. I think there is real danger. So we also have the we have right to use nature resources. At the same time, for our own long-term selfish reason, we also have the responsibility to protect the environment. It is quite sad. American president used to withdraw from Paris Accord. It's quite sad. America, leading nation of free world, should take serious responsibility about well-being of future world. So he don't care about environment problem. So if present are short-sighted and only think about money, material value, not thinking more holistic, more long run, there is, I think, some danger. So, and then meantime, human population also increasing. And our lifestyle also now changing. I think that also, very necessary. Now there's a huge gap, rich and poor. Not only global level, but also national level. Now, for example, India, there's quite serious gap, rich and poor. When we're passing through Delhi or these, there are some street children, poor. Really very sad. And then China, socialist country. Now, since Deng Xiaoping sort of changed the market-oriented economy, these things. So now huge gap, China, rich and poor, huge gap. And America, they was the most materially highly developed nation, but there is gap, rich and poor. So these poor people, their living standard must improve. Or then, the nature resources, including water, crisis, I think eventually may increase. So we have to think more holistic way and long-sighted. That's very important. Next question.
Thank you, sir.
Coming on next is S. Vijayanti.
Tashi Dalek, sir.
Tashi,
Sir, I'm really keen to...
you speak more Tibetan. Besides Tashi, few other Tibetan, no. Only one. Tashi. Like my Hindi. I spent now here the 58 years now. My Hindi very poor. Thora. I only know kana. Garam pani, tangdam pani. Sometimes I feel shame. By broken English, since I think 1947, I start to learn. But still my English, no proper grammar like that. But this broken English, quite useful.
Sir, I'm really keen to know that till now, all the Dalai Lamas have been men. Is it just a coincidence, or can a woman also become a Dalai Lama?
Karsa. In Tibetan tradition, some high Lama, reincarnated Lama, actually female, is not well known outside. But some high female reincarnated Lama, I think over now 700 years. Quite old. So it is quite sort of familiar. Then after all, Buddha give us equal right. Bhikshu, Bhikshuni, equal. And then also, as far as sort of study is concerned, traditionally in Tibet, nunnery not pay the study serious. So 40 years ago, I think more than 40 years ago, I appeal. Now nuns also should carry serious study as this big monastery carry. So they start. Now, last year, about 20 nuns become top scholar. So I give them Karsatimiti, Kishima, degree, like that. So basically, is Buddha give us equal right. So therefore, I think many years ago, one occasion in Paris, one was the female magazine, a women's magazine. I think editor or some of their sort of writer asked me this question, whether female Dalai Lama can possible or not. Then I immediately mentioned, yes, why not? If the circumstances is such, female Dalai Lama more useful, then naturally female Dalai Lama come. Then I add, if female Dalai Lama come, it's a more attractive female, should automatically come. If you say Dalai Lama, like, then you see, people do not want to see that female Dalai Lama's face. So sometimes I teasing some of my sort of friend, good scholar and good practitioner, but always look very serious. So I teasing that person. If Dalai Lama, if me carry your sort of more serious face, I think I will find less friends. I always smile, joking, completely informal way. So I found a lot of friends, isn't it? Do you prefer remain like this or remain like that? Naturally, you see, I think goodness of human being is our smile. Some monkey may have ability to show smile. Otherwise, most animal, like dog, they are sort of the best way express their friendship is their nail, tail, do like that, and then close the licking. That's the only way. We human being, you see, we have this smile. Very good, very good. So one occasion in 1950s, of course 56, I came India, Buddha Jayanti celebration. And then the committee which organized International Buddhist Conference, you see, the chairman of that, Radha Krishna, Vice President Radha Krishna. So we become very close friend. So I think the 59, some occasion, you see, we both looking one pictorial book. So in the book, in the picture, everybody is smiling. So then Radha Krishna is express. Now everybody trying to appetize our teeth. Like that. So I do smile. Very good. So sometimes you see this, including some police, particularly when they with uniform and the gun, a salute, or when I passing through. There is some smiling when I smile. Then they also smile because return away. And then some police with uniform more serious. Then I usually should do this because I mean, tickle. And then they smiling. So I love smile. It's much better, much better. Therefore, I totally dislike too much formality. No use formality. When we born, no formality. When we die, no formality. And between there, has too much formality. No good, no good. And basically, we are same human being. Next question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, His Holiness. There are many more questions, but I'm told that you've got another important commitment. So we will have to end the interactive session here.
We request Shri Sushil Dutt Salwan, Chairman, Salwan Education Trust, to present the vote of thanks.
So now, finally, as I mentioned earlier, we, generation of 20th century, now we experience a lot of suffering. Most of this suffering is our own creation. Now you, 21st century, you see, should change that. That not through prayer, but through action. Action with vision. Though, when we develop self-centered attitude, our whole mind becomes narrow. When we think about altruistic, about well-being of 7 million human beings, our mind becomes wider. Then you can see the reality. Narrow-minded way, you can't see the reality. So without knowing the reality, all your action then become unrealistic. In order to carry realistic approach, you must know the reality. In order to know the reality, you must look from wider perspective. Otherwise, you can't see. Clear? Any unrealistic sort of effort, unrealistic method, result disaster. Okay. Thank you.
His Holiness, we are blessed. You are blessed with your visit today. You visited us on 16th November 1997, and I was a young boy, 27 years of age. We had 6 schools that time. Mm-hmm. Your blessings gave us enlightenment, and today we are 11 schools. Your Holiness, this institution is the only institution in this country which celebrates and believes in all faith with open mind and open heart. In these 75 years of our celebration of the trust, we celebrated all faiths. We celebrated the Mahayagya. We celebrated the Eid. We celebrated Gurpurav. We celebrated Christianity. And today we celebrate with you Buddhism. We are blessed, Your Holiness. We are blessed. We are blessed because today is another milestone in our history. His Holiness has come to us to bless us so that from 11 we become 20 schools and we spread education on the basis of the same philosophy, the same ethos, what you are teaching us today. Open mind, open heart. His Holiness has taught us a lot of things today. May I also confess that I am personally blessed today because it so happens that with your blessings, I am also performing the duties of a good father. And that is, today is the first day when my daughter starts with her wedding ceremonies program. So I am blessed, Your Holiness. Thank you so much. I totally concede and accept the preachings of His Holiness when he says that we young minds should train our minds. We young children should train our minds. A very beautiful question was articulated about anger and how well His Holiness has expressed. Anger gives you a narrow mind. It stops your vision. It makes you myopic. Anger gives you delusions in life. It doesn't give you any happiness. His Holiness is telling us today, remove negativity, remove hatred, remove jealousy, develop passion for creativity. You are born in this world to create, to be a creator yourself. His Holiness has told us, develop love for humanity, develop love for nature. How beautifully our manuscripts tell us about everything about life. If I am to ask the parents out here and the elders out here and all the children out here, could you describe Bhagavad Gita in 2 sentences? It's very simple. The Kurukshetra is your own body. The 5 Pandavas are your senses, the good senses what you have. And the 100 Kauravas are the vices. In your body, in your mind, you have the fight between the good and the vice. It all depends upon your mind, your ability to fight the vices, and how you can triumph over the vices, and how you can succeed over the evil. That is how beautifully His Holiness has told us about life. We are blessed, Your Holiness, we are blessed. You have correctly mentioned, Your Holiness, that we must control our anger. I make a request with folded hands to the parents and the esteemed faculty out here. Your anger shall be reflected in future through these very children who are there before you. And if you are going to exhibit anger and intolerance, this is precisely what we'll get in future. And then you can think of this world full of anger, full of misery. I think it's time we seek the blessing of His Holiness and change our mind and attitude towards life, towards the world. That's most important. And therefore I say we are blessed. How beautifully His Holiness said that we are the reliable chelas of gurus. I think that's a very profound statement. And my dear young students, I request all of you, you should be the reliable chelas of your gurus. Your gurus should be proud of you as long as they are here and as long as the institution is there. The gurus are your teachers, the gurus are your parents. So be the reliable guru. Stand up for a good cause in this world. Stand up for the nation. His Holiness, you did express about the USA's attitude toward environment. I say, on behalf of all my Indian brothers and sisters out here, I say, you need not worry. India is sufficient to contain the US and also control the US on this particular issue. We shall and we have pledged to save the environment, and we shall do it. This country shall stand for the cause of environment. You lead us and we shall take the path as what you desire. So you need not fear the United States of America. 160 crores population of this country is enough to contain that country, Your Holiness, and we shall do it for you. We shall do it as a mark of respect and token for you, Your Holiness. I am indebted on behalf of the Salwan Education Trust, all the 11 schools, 1,000 teachers, 10,000 students, 20,000 parents. We are indebted to His Holiness that you have come here and blessed each one of us. You have touched our soul with so much of purity, with so much of nicety, and with so much of passion. I believe on behalf of all of us that we shall be better and greater human beings from today onwards. We thank you, Your Holiness, for being with us. I express my deep gratitude to Mr. Tempa Sering, who's been a great support in organizing His Holiness' visit to this institution. I am also indebted to our Honorable Chairman Emeritus, my dear respected father, Shri Shivdat Salwanji, that under his umbrella and under his guidance, we are able to take this legacy forward with utmost honesty, utmost purity, and a lot of sincerity. I express my deep gratitude to Major General Kapoor, Mr. Harpal Singh Ji, our honorable trustees. I express my gratitude to Dr. Meduri, General Nayak, General Masaldan, and all the respected members of the Salwan Education School and all the members of the Salwan managing committees. My deepest gratitude is to the parents, as well as the alumni of the Salwan schools. I think I must say that you are wonderful parents. And the beauty in you parents is that you believe in us. And the beauty is that you stand by the cause for which we have created all these institutions. And I commit to all the parents on behalf of the trust in all the schools that whatever you do and whatever you say shall be the command for us. And that command should be totally in favor of the child and nothing else but the child. So don't look at any other issues, but just consider and just be child-centric, and I'm sure none of us will go wrong. I would surely request and thank all the teachers, the lovely teachers of the Salwan Education Trust, who have put together this great institution, the former teachers who are present here, who have worked selflessly for 30 years, 40 years. They've devoted their life, and it is so very nice. Dear students, before we conclude today, make a pledge and take a pledge. Your pledge is to follow the preachings of His Holiness. Remove negativity from your life. Remove hatred from your life. Remove jealousy from your life. Develop passion for creativity, develop love for humanity, and develop love for nature. I end with a vote of thanks. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Thank you, Your Holiness. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us.
We all share this planet Earth. So His Holiness urges us to live in peace and harmony with each other and with nature. This is not just a dream or a choice we have, but a necessity. May we all follow the path shown by His Holiness.
May the vision of His Holiness for His homeland and its people and His vision for the world be fulfilled soon. His Holiness, we don't have words enough to express our feelings.
I request the student volunteers to kindly help settle down the students.
Thank you. The child you are.
Yes, thank you, Johan. Now let's begin.